Danny? Got a girlfriend, mate?
No, not at the moment.
Really? Pretty boy like you? Maybe you should come around to my place this weekend, eh? Pretty boy, hey? Come on, you know you want to.
Back off, all right?
Is that a no, is it? Oh, well. Another time, eh? Another time.
Bullying has wide-ranging effects on victims, all of which are negative. Firstly, victims of bullying experience more negative emotions. They experience anxiety, higher levels of stress, depression, and they are also more likely to fear going into work, to be absent. They might withdraw from others and isolate themselves at the workplace. Some individuals have been known to attempt suicide or even suicide over these types of behaviours.
Every employee has the right to have their health, safety and welfare protected at work. Employers are therefore obliged to provide a workplace where their employees' well-being is upheld. And part of this involves zero tolerance of bullying. Bullying in the workplace can go unnoticed, or worse still, ignored by people at all levels in an organisation.
Get onto that, please, straight away.
Oh, sorry, Amanda, I won't be able to get onto it till tomorrow. Jim wants a conference report on his desk before I go tonight.
Well, you tell Jim to stand in line. I have told you my client's file takes top priority.
Amanda, please don't shout. I think that's something you need to talk to Jim about directly.
Do you? That's your professional opinion, is it? Do you really think I could care less what you think?
Is there a problem here, Amanda? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Good, because I need your feedback on this.
Oh, well, what's this?
It's a statement of commitment to eradicate bullying from the workplace. I need you and the other section managers to sign off on it.
Okay, I'll do that right away.
If clear and accessible anti-bullying policies and procedures do not exist in a workplace, problems can compound to the point where the effects on targets and the workplace as a whole are highly destructive. It has the capacity to destroy people's lives and those of their families and friends. Every workplace should be proactive about eradicating bullying. By putting appropriate structures in place and by promoting an anti-bullying culture, a workplace becomes a happier, healthier and more productive place. This program is about dealing with workplace bullying. We'll look at developing bullying policies in a workplace, what should a bullying policy contain, and achieving cultural change. Workplace bullying can have dire consequences on both the targets of bullying behaviour and the workplace as a whole. Employers and managers in any workplace need to take bullying behaviour seriously and be conscientious about eradicating it. There is no getting around it.
A policy on bullying or harassing in a workplace must be very clear. Doesn't matter how it's done, but it has to be in such a way that the message is communicated. And they need to have a plan that you can see it. Visually, you can see it on the wall, which way you go, where the arrows point and what happens.
The managing of bullying behaviour has to be undertaken in a consultative and educative way. Consultation must involve everyone with an interest in the matter, including employers and managers, workers, representative bodies within the workplace, such as health and safety committees, and, where appropriate, representative bodies from outside the workplace, such as trade unions. Consultation helps an employer to determine whether there is a problem with bullying in the workplace. It also assists with identifying the best way to get the prevention message across and to implement prevention measures.
Anyway, we're taking it all to the executive meeting next week. Management want bullying policies and procedures to be dealt with as a matter of urgency, and I'm looking for input.
Input? How do you mean?
Well, everyone gets a chance to fill in a confidential survey, but to get the ball rolling, I'm after any comments you might have on how bullying should be dealt with. Email me by Thursday, okay?
Okay, I will. Thanks.
Good.
Every workplace should have an anti-bullying policy. That is, a stated position on bullying in the workplace and a clearly defined procedure to deal with incidences of bullying behaviour. Developing a workplace bullying policy or modifying an existing one to better meet the needs of workers can be complex. But consultation ensures that everyone has an opportunity to contribute to it in 3 important areas: reporting procedures, procedures for investigating incidents, and procedures for resolving problems.
The important thing is to accept that bullying occurs in workplaces. And once management has accepted that, then it's up to them to set about writing a policy. But it's very important that they consult with key people. People at the workplace, people who are in supervisory roles, and people who are observers in some way or other. It might even be customers.
Once developed and formally adopted, anti-bullying policies should be easily accessible to all employees. Employers must be proactive about this. Ways this can be achieved include making electronic and/or hard copies available to all employees, placing such policies in company newsletters and other publications, or posting the information in an appropriate place.
It's reassuring as a female with all the posters around on site, especially in the building industry. I've actually got a hard hat with a bullying sticker on the top of my hard hat with the number there, so it's easy to access and pass on to other female members.
Have you read this? They're getting a bullying policy up and running.
Oh, about time.
Yeah, check it out. Bullying can take the form of harassment, humiliation, or repeatedly being asked to comply with unreasonable demands in the workplace. Sound familiar?
Sure does.
I'm sorry about the mix-ups with the roster last weekend. I've made sure that you won't have to work on weekends anymore.
Similarly, when any new employee joins a workplace, and when workers such as contractors are involved in a workplace on an itinerant basis, they should be formally notified about the organisation's policies in relation to bullying. Workplace bullying has many negative effects, and employers are required to provide a workplace that is free from it. Bullying policies are effective in achieving this. They should be developed in an educative and consultative way. They should define unacceptable behaviour and provide employees with a clear process for reporting bullying. A bullying policy should be easily accessible to all workers. A bullying policy outlines the expected standards of workplace behaviour and clearly defines what constitutes bullying. It also unambiguously states that any type of bullying behaviour will not be tolerated in the workplace.
You know all that crap I had to put up with on the last night? All that macho rubbish? Yeah, alright. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Hey, Romy. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks.
Look, you shouldn't have too many problems here, but in case you do, here's some info on our new anti-bullying policies.
Anti-bullying?
Yeah, look, I'd be surprised if you had to use it, but it's there just in case, okay?
Okay, thanks.
A bullying policy must outline a clear process for the reporting of bullying behaviour.
If it's very clear from the employee's eyes, then the employer would be able to reprimand those people accordingly, and there wouldn't have to be a re-education process after something has happened. It's already out there, it's very plain.
An important part of the reporting process is that vulnerable workers and whistleblowers will be protected. All reports must be treated confidentially at all stages. A bullying policy needs to have mechanisms in place whereby the reporting of unacceptable behaviour is encouraged in the workplace. This involves ongoing communication with workers about expected behaviour and the different people and processes within the organisation that deal with bullying problems. Most importantly though, it means processes for the reporting and handling of bullying claims must be able to be used with confidence by workers.
Thanks for putting your claim forward, Rowena. Looks like you've been copping some pretty unfair treatment. Are you okay?
I'm a bit worried about Amanda's reaction when she finds out what I've told you.
Don't worry, this is all totally confidential. There's not much point having an anti-bullying policy if people are too afraid to use it.
They must be effective in dealing with claims and resolving issues fairly and promptly. There should also be disincentives for vexatious claims. Within any workplace, a bullying policy can be developed on its own or can be an adjunct to other relevant workplace policies, such as occupational health and safety or code of conduct. It can be linked to existing workplace grievance or conflict resolution procedures, or may involve a separate process.
I'm surprised how much bullying still goes on. Not just in the building industry, I mean everywhere.
Yeah, the last site I worked on was pretty bad.
Sounds like it. You should have made a statement against that bloke.
Didn't know I could. Nobody told me about reporting him or anything like that.
Bullying policies should contain an outline of expected standards in a workplace and state that bullying is not tolerated. Clear processes for making and dealing with complaints must be stated. An important aspect is the protection of vulnerable workers. Workers should be encouraged to use the policy if needed, and they should feel they can use it with confidence.
A bullying culture essentially means a workplace environment where individuals see as normal behavior any of these sorts of bullying activities, whether it's social undermining, spreading negative sorts of rumors and gossip. It might be intimidating individuals, sending abusive emails. It could be, shouting, screaming, hiding information, work overload, work underload, any of these sorts of things where these kinds of activities are being used to try to keep an individual essentially down or to constrain them in a way that does not accord with workplace requirements.
How does an employer or management team find out if bullying is occurring in the workplace? And in establishing new policies or modifying existing ones to achieve cultural change, how is it possible to account for the experiences of everybody concerned and to canvass the opinions of all workers?
There would be men who think that nude photos in a workplace aren't a form of harassment, or have never thought that, have just thought, you know, calendar girl stuff's okay, it's just standard fare. But it might have been when there were no women. But they've got to then take on board the fact that if a woman's there looking at the commodification of women in a calendar, she might find it offensive. She might find that it contributes to bullying and the like. So workplaces need to be progressive. They need to reflect changing values and the changing role of women in the society.
Using a confidential survey in the workplace, which gathers responses from workers about their experiences with bullying behaviour, is an effective way to give everybody the opportunity to contribute.
Good job.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't forget the bullying survey in your pigeonhole. OHS wants it back by the end of the week.
No worries, can do. Hey, that anti-bullying's really got to her. I like it.
Surveys should not identify individuals, but it is often useful to gather some information about them in order to detect any patterns among bullying targets. Information such as gender, age bracket and position within the organisation.
Jeez. How many questions are they asking? I hope those new bloods keep their mouths shut.
All information from individuals within a survey has to remain confidential. But when the responses are collated and collective findings are reported, they should be made known to the entire workforce. If appropriate, an organisation should acknowledge there are problems with bullying and commit to eradicating it by introducing an effective policy. If a policy is in place already, and it is clear from surveying that bullying problems still exist, this too should be acknowledged and a policy change program implemented. Employers need to manage bullying in the workplace and avoid the development of a bullying culture. A confidential survey is a good way to gather information from all relevant people in a workplace. Surveys don't identify individuals. They can be useful in identifying patterns about the targets and perpetrators of bullying. Workers should be informed of survey results and a commitment made to developing or changing a bullying policy. Bullying problems are identified in a workplace, all staff are notified, and there is a commitment to eradicate them. The next step is to embark on a consultative process to develop an effective bullying policy and procedures, or to change existing ones. It is not always possible to involve all staff in a workplace in a consultative process, but there should be ways in which all staff who want to can contribute. This includes contributing through a representative committee, union or other worker representatives on staff, or opportunities being given to make contributions in writing.
Definitely approaches, maybe some sort of feedback, and they could also approach the union about stories they may have heard to sort of head off anything that may come up in the future and sort of like prevent something from happening by like assuming that it may happen and be able to sort of head it off from other people's experiences.
I don't think there's any doubt that the culture of the workplace has to be fashioned by workers. If you've got a workplace where the boss is dominant and rules the roost and workers fear the boss, or workers can't develop strategies collectively, then it's a bad workplace. And the culture of the workplace will be really hard to push or manipulate or change.
Underpinning the formulation of policies and procedures for dealing with workplace bullying should be an understanding of the deep psychological trauma and stress that targets can experience. This means it is imperative that workplace policies and procedures provide them with confidence and certainty relating to fair treatment and just outcomes.
The important thing is that steps need to be taken, holistic steps where, again, you'll need to have managers that are trained in the appropriate ways of leading and managing individuals, and also how to spot the signs of bullying and how to bring that to an immediate stop. Wide-scale workforce education so individuals will not tolerate bullying, and that means that they need to know that if they speak up, they'll be supported by the organization.
Any defendant to a claim should have confidence that they have access to a fair and clearly defined process. In the event of a claim, the complainant and the defendant should not be required to work together, and, if need be, leave granted to achieve this. All parties involved in a bullying claim should also have confidence that workplace policies and procedures allow for a timely resolution of issues. Processes for dealing with bullying might encompass a range of approaches, depending on the individuals involved and the nature and severity of bullying behaviour. They might include personal discussion, counselling, formal apologies and statements of commitment to changing behaviour, and a range of other formal and informal mediation and resolution processes.
And the supervisor can organise if he chooses, or she, and I say that every time, if he or she chooses, he can then organise a mediation with himself being a kind of mediator, a person who's listening to both sides. If that doesn't work, or if it isn't acceptable, or if the person feels threatened being in the same room, and that's quite common, that the person feels very threatened being in the same room as the bully, then it might be necessary to move outside the system and appoint a mediator.
Due process? Counselling? I can't believe this. I can't tell Jenny. She'll flip.
Bullying policies should be developed by consulting a range of people in a workplace. The deep psychological trauma experienced by targets of bullying should be understood in forming a policy. All claims should be dealt with fairly, justly, and in a timely manner. Processes will vary according to the severity of the bullying and the circumstances. They could involve a range of different actions, including mediation and counselling. There is no room for bullying in any workplace. It is illegal behaviour. It has the potential to cause untold damage and misery to targets, their families and friends. It can destroy lives. With firm management that upholds workers' legal and ethical rights to the protection of their health, safety and welfare at work, bullying cultures can be prevented and eradicated. It is therefore incumbent on every workplace to consultatively develop, monitor and, if needed, modify anti-bullying policies and processes.
It's great to have you with us.
A formalised and proactive approach to stamping out bullying behaviour in the workplace benefits employers and employees alike. It saves money, saves lives, and makes for a healthier, more productive workplace.
Bosses, managers, union officials, shop steward workers, they've got to share ideas, develop a progressive situation in the workplace, but also they'll get more productivity out of a workplace like that too. The old workplace where there was bullying is unproductive.